everybody, welcome back to another episode of my VOD review series, which I'm just going to be smashing out as many of these as possible. I find it easiest to just watch the games this way. I tend to do better analysis when I'm on camera, so I don't have an excuse to kind of be lazy and just glaze over things. But hopefully this VOD review is of a much less one-sided game. It is 48 minutes long, so it's pretty lengthy, but we'll get through it, don't worry. So, KT CJ. KT number 4 team in the league right now, just behind Samsung Galaxy. Could be number 3 by the end of this, I believe. And CJ, we saw a bit of them the other day. They were playing okay. They were punishing fairly well, but they weren't doing as much as they could. We saw them take it over ESC Ever in a decently convincing fashion in what was, I think, their second game. Could have been the first game. Lots of eyes on Haru for jungle pathing and how well he was able to seal out the game. I don't think CJ closed out as quick as they could have. So eyes on that for this game. So jumping into pick and bans. First ban out from KT. Talia usually means that the other team has to ban Malzahar because Talia is normally considered to be the counter to Malzahar. We don't see that much Vladimir into Malzahar anymore. Swain surfaced a little bit in the MVP versus Rox, and it's just surfaced in the Challenger Series as well, in the EU LCS qualifiers or the promotion tournament. So you could see that. Could see Swain into Malzahar. Potentially not, though. Malzahar comes out as a reactive ban from CJ. They don't want a blue side first pick Malzahar. Bard comes out, which is interesting, as a straight up ban onto Madlife. Could mean that Arrow wants to play Jhin, because Madlife is pretty good with Bard, and Bard tends to counter the Jhin pick. Could mean they want an early Jhin Brown rotation. Bard was also pretty good into Brown. Aurelion Sol is just a target ban away from Fly, and Nidalee on blue side is interesting. It normally means that you really want to go for something that isn't obviously Nidalee on your first pick, but I don't know if Haru's the one to ban Nidalee away from. I'm not sure if I like this ban or not. He's typically had much more success on Rek'Sai and Hecarim and not much else. Could mean that KT wants to first pick away the Hecarim and deny the Hecarim Shen combo. I do like that as a first pick when, if you have Hecarim, Shen and Sivir and Karma up, which we do, then first picking Hecarim is very nice because it negates that the ability of them to do a Shen Hecarim second round draft. But yeah, we have 4 really big power picks up at the moment in those 4 that I've just mentioned. The Gangplank is away from Sunday, which is perfectly reasonable. Also puts higher priority on Shen. So if they do take the Hecarim, then Shen will most likely come in as a counter. You have Gnar and Trundle still up as to be run into Shen and Tahm Kench, but Gangplank normally what we see into him. To considered a counter matchup or a good matchup for Gangplank. So let's see what. Oops, this was not supposed to go like that. Okay, so they go for Gragas. Interesting. I'm not sure if I like that. So Score's having a great season on Gragas, and he's really good at counter ganking. So could be a good pick, but with Gangplank off the table and Shen Hecarim available, it means they do get potentially the ability to do Shen Hecarim, but you're trading that for Sivir Karma. So if you have 4 power picks up, first picking something that isn't those 2 can be really good. So now it's CJ's, because you just trade 2 for 2, but you get the jungle of your choice in this case. Haru fairly likely to pick the Hecarim here, but if they go Hecarim Shen, they give over the Sivir Karma. So I wouldn't mind seeing Hecarim Karma or Hecarim Sivir. Straight into an Ashe pick. Getting more engaged from your bottom lane is never a bad thing. So they go for the Shen. Okay, yeah, I think this is smart. So they still have the ability to Sivir Karma here, but the Shen Hecarim combo is probably one of the most broken. Sivir Karma does have a really high win rate and pairs really nicely into Gragas. Sivir works fine into Ashe, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Sivir Karma pick. Maybe I'm overvaluing Sivir, but I think that she's actually just the best pick at the moment. I don't know why you wouldn't take her if Sivir Karma is available, especially. Or even... Okay, so I like the... Whoops, meant to pause that. So I like the first round draft from CJ because Hecarim doesn't need to be picked here because Gragas has been taken. So you take your choice of AD carry and you take your top laner. They do have nice CC in the lanes. As a retort from that, you get Trundle, who's also a flex pick, which is okay from KT, not bad. So they get to hide some of their comp. Also brings some decent engage and ability to siege and slow people down, which is important when you're going to run a Vladimir in your comp. With Malzahar and Talia off the board, Vlad's priority does go up. Fly, decent Vladimir player. And again, they don't need to pick the Sivir here because the Ashe has already been locked in from the other side. So they can actually round out this comp with Sivir plus something else if they want. There is still a potential for CJ to pick Karma here, and with Vladimir being locked in and Gragas on the other team, I would definitely expect to see maybe Karma Hecarim here. I think Karma Hecarim will make a lot of sense, but just because Karma is also a flex pick to the mid lane, and they can save their mid lane pick till last. They haven't picked that, so it's nice to be able to see that. Although, I mean, so they'll be able to see the bottom lane matchup and decide whether or not they want to take Karma into it. So I think that's what I would be looking toward here. But they still have given Sivir over at least to KT. You don't want to give them Sivir and Karma at all. So I'd be very surprised to see them not take Karma Hecarim here. Is that going to be it? Should be. Yeah, there we go. So what do you get in response? You get Sivir because Vladimir's in your comp, and then you choose between putting Trundle top into Shen, which I think is the better matchup of the two, or doing what we talked about before and maybe going Trundle Jhin, which has really nice amounts of catch. You could go Jhin Brown as well and still put the Trundle into that, but then you'd be in a range disadvantage matchup in the bottom lane. Nami would be an interesting pick. I don't know about how well it synergizes, but you do have lots of lane control. Nara is also a possibility, although I don't think the synergy is as good. I don't see why you don't pick Sivir here. Ezreal can work well with Vladimir comps, because Ezreal and Nara, you have a lot of ability, and Trundle, and even Gragas' Q, you have a lot of ability to slow people down, and the Ezreal is going to be kiting away from this Shen Hecarim combo. But you have an unbelievably weak bottom lane, so they'll really be wanting a lane swap here. Looks like, oh no, they don't. So that's Hachani with teleport there. So what does CJ pick into this? They can pretty much pick whatever they want here. They just get comfort for BDD. Oh wait, it's not BDD in the lineup. It's Sky. Okay, so it's now Sky and Antara instead of Shy and BDD. Interesting. I would like the Twisted Fate here. It gives you extra global comp. Kassadin works really well as well. Kassadin would be a great pick here. So I really don't like the last two picks from... Tarek would work too. Tarek's nice. I really don't like the last two picks from KT though. I think you just put your Trundle into the Shen in the top lane, and then you run with probably a Sivir plus whatever the hell you want Brown matchup into the bottom lane. Okay, so they go for the Tarek. So Karma has a pretty safe lane into Vladimir. I actually think Kassadin would have been a really good pick here, because you can run a 1-3-1 on these guys and you have Shen in your team already. Shen Kassadin synergizes really nicely because Kassadin can just, well, Shen can ride the Kassadin into battle. Same for the Hecarim, so you have two ports in. The Tarek is really cool though, because if you get Tarek like an Ashe ulti into a speed up, Tarek proxies onto Hecarim, who, you know, gets ridden by Shen with the Stand United, and you just get so much chain CC coming out of that. So KT with a, not KT, CJ with a really nice comp. I really like this draft. It synergizes much better than KT's does in my opinion. KT really desperately want a lane swap here, which is weird because like why pick a Nara if you're going to lane swap? Nara usually you take him to dominate the lane matchup. I understand that you want Ezreal for more safety, but I think Sivir can fulfill that role just as well, just by running the hell away from the Hecarim. Obviously it's difficult without like a strict gap close, but there's not a Trundle on the enemy team. There's no like walls or anything to stop Sivir from just running away. And the Sivir Vladimir synergy is so nice. Also, if you're running a Vladimir, that's really short range in terms of your wave clear and your siege. Although Sivir is super short range as well, she at least gives you really, really secure wave clear just because you can, you know, auto attack the first minion and kill the entire wave. So CJ winning out this draft in my eyes. Double TP on the side of CJ is important. Nice Teemo sign. I like that. Is that Tristana in the middle? I think it is. Oh, cool. Okay, less of that though. So yeah, double TP from CJ. They do have, and the thing is, there's nothing to stop them running a 1-3-1 to their heart's content here, because KT doesn't have enough wave clear and siege to be able to push in the middle lane. They don't have enough hard CC and pick. Literally the only form of engage they have is a Gragas body slam flash with maybe a teleport behind from Gnar, but Shen's going to be able to react quicker in that situation. So this will have to be a serious carry performance from Sunday. CJ is going to invade. So they try and call the swap, but they fail. They just go blind. If I'm CJ there, I invade the top side, I think. Haro manages to start off on his blue buff, so that's a good start for him. And more importantly as well is that CJ's got comfort champions here. Kramer's a great Ashe player and like a really safe CSer. Madlife, one of the earlier adopters of the Taric pick. And Tara, when he first came into the lineup, literally just played tanks for the entire spring split, and that was fine. He's good on tanks. He's kind of been described as a role player. And he's also a really good Gnar, so he knows the other side of this matchup as well. And, you know, Karma in the middle lane is just wave clear fest versus Vladimir. So, lane swap wise, CJ also winning out here in terms of the start, because Hachani did Hachani things, didn't manage to actually force them off of the buff, but Someday did get forced off the buff by CJ's bottom lane. Ashe and Taric pretty good at that. So Haro's going to get 2 blue buffs, which is great on Hecarim. He's just going to power farm his way. And the other thing about picking a comp that really needs a lane swap into this is that when you play against the Hecarim, you actually don't want to be going for a lane swap, because he really needs time to scale up and farm. Not a great early game pressure jungler, so if you give him that opportunity in a lane swap, then he's going to get to level 6 no problem and be able to rush his Triforce and outfight you. Hachani with a roam, but I'm not sure that's going to work. I mean, maybe they get a flash? No, they don't even get a flash. I mean, it said level 3 Vladimir. Don't know about how effective that gank's going to be. Neither top lane are really winning out in CS so far, although Antara's probably going to fall behind Someday. This is classic KT, giving Someday all the juicy farm they possibly can. Their bottom lane managed to recall quicker. They got a tempo advantage. Seems like they got to the bottom tower quicker. So Antara's going to be forced off a decent amount of CS here, and Someday's going to get an advantage. So when the top laners eventually match up again, Someday will be ahead, which is what KT wants, because pretty much this whole season has just been like enormous carry performances off the back of Someday and Score. So we'll see how well Score can do. Someday's kind of old reliable. Interesting that Score's here. I wonder if he's going to go for a gank. So there's a bit of a risky gank in a 2v2. But I mean, Gnar is one of the top laners that can. He's not going to go for it in the end. But it would have been a good time. He was just about to hit his Gnar bar. Risky though. Safer to just go for the crazy tempo advantages that they have. Look at how far ahead KT is of CJ. Someday was able to push out so much of that wave. He's now 2 waves pretty much, 10 CS ahead of Antara. Antara's going to be so starved this game. So starved. CJ with a lot of ability to dive though. As long as Antara gets to his level 6 and then CJ can group mid and force a dive with Taric Hecarim, is pretty chill. And they lose out so much on it. That's how much the tempo advantage is, that CJ actually burns teleport to get to the bottom lane and they still lose out in tempo without Someday burning his. So they're massively ahead of this lane swap. They're not going to get the chance to do the dragon. So this is great for KT. KT's going to push in another wave to deny even more farm from Antara. The question is, which lanes will they go to when they match back up? If you're KT, you probably just want to let Ezreal sit and scale with his tier. Maybe have him freeze a wave. Nar's really good at holding lanes. So they might be able to even commit Ezreal to like a solo freeze in one of the lanes without getting punished too hard. Because CJ is really reliant on level 6 for their engage. So they might actually just be able to stick this out and let Arrow get really, really far ahead as well. But I imagine they'll play it more towards Someday. So they see the bottom lane. They see CJ's bottom lane, the Kramer and Mad Life duo, go towards the top side, and they're going to send their bottom duo to the bottom side. That's nothing unexpected there, just carrying on the lane swap. They send their bottom duo there because of the Cloud Drake. You really want the Cloud Drake in this composition. Against Hecarim Karma, Cloud Drake is really important to be able to outmaneuver them on the map and to be able to just not die. Just denying it from the Hecarim is really important. 2 Cloud Drakes is basically Moby Boots, which is for Hecarim a decent amount of bonus damage and just more initiation threat with a Karma on him. The movement speed tails off, but he's still terrifying. So both top laners are currently going to sit pretty far back in their lanes and just get waves pushed into them now. Lanes are super long now. You can probably just expect the junglers to play towards the top laner. So how's CJ going to react to this? What's CJ's way back into this? Basically waiting till level 6 and then doing what we talked about. Grouping mid, smashing someone while some days Narbar isn't up. If they play well against the Narbar, there shouldn't be a problem to deal with, even though they messed up their lane swap slightly. They are still even on gold. Mostly because Sky's actually outperforming Fly in the mid lane right now, which is interesting. And Fly going top, Sunday going mid, that's not something you see very often. I suppose Fly has more wave clear to be able to clear out the 3-man push better. It's hard to see what the... I think that True Shot Barrage actually hit both waves. Wow. Wow, they didn't manage to get any damage on that tower. Oh dear. So let's go back before that play kind of happened. So KT's pushing on in this tower. And God, just look at the tempo advantage. They've literally just managed to keep snowballing this tempo advantage. I'm surprised that CJ showed their bottom lane up here at their top inner tower before and then didn't rotate them back down, because this was probably predictable. KT just this entire game, this is just one tempo advantage that's kept on going from the first tower, and CJ hasn't found a way to equalize. They haven't managed to pull off any ganks. They haven't managed to do anything about it. They haven't swapped the lanes back around. I think at this stage you just take a CS loss just to get back into standard lanes. Yeah, the Hecarim's 6 now, so you can afford to be in standard lanes. And the Ashe is about to get 6. The Ashe has got 6, but she was about to get 6 at that point. So I think with 2 towers down, you swap back into your standard lanes and you just get battered on Intara until you hit 6 and then make a play somewhere else. That's what this comp has to do. But when you have such a massive push disadvantage, you can't just let it keep going until you lose an inner tower. KT's got a gold lead now, which is decent for them. It's going to be, because of the accelerated pace of the game as well, it's going to be a really early Muramana for Ezreal. This guy going for the Athenes makes sense. You probably don't want an Ardent Sensor in this team though, because Ezreal doesn't benefit from the attack speed. Oh, what am I talking about? It's not Ezreal on that team. Sorry, it's Ashe, in which case Ardent Sensor would make sense. So she might go for that build. Haru slightly ahead of score on CS, and KT hasn't managed to balloon the CS anymore, and Tara's got a decent freeze up in the top lane, and Haru's playing towards it. So this is good from him being right here in this jungle. Knowing that the enemy team is going to come to try and break this freeze, he manages to push that bot lane off for just a few seconds, and Tara gets another few bits of CS. He gets some more scraps. This mid lane switch up with Fly is really weird. I don't know why this isn't being punished more with teleports. Because remember, CJ has double teleport. So they can easily push into Someday and teleport away from this lane. I suppose the Vladimir was having a rough time in the matchup. Very odd indeed. But CJ having just pushed that enormous wave into the bottom lane, seeing Vladimir there and Nara in the mid lane. That's a Q for a dragon, if I ever saw one, especially when your Shen is top, so that's pretty free for them. Now what can they do in the mid lane? Fly is in the bottom lane, right? So if Sky, not Shy, can push him in even slightly, this should be a Q for a teleport. Someday doesn't have any Narvar resource right now. So if they can push this mid lane in, they would be able to go for a dive here so easily. And again, as with last game that we did with CJ, they're not punishing as well as they could be. They go for this gank onto Someday when they have teleport advantage on the rest of the map. There's no way Fly can join in that play if he's pushed in the bottom lane by Sky. And they have good ward coverage on the bottom side. So why not push in that lane and make a TP play onto the mid lane? If you get the mid lane with this comp, you push Vladimir and Ezreal so far back. And then you can take the... I mean, the map's already very open, but it would allow them to play for everything else just much easier. In terms of team fighting, it's really hard to say which of these teams has the edge. Taric ulti is really nice into Vladimir. That's one thing I didn't cover in the draft, is that Taric into Vladimir is actually a really, really intelligent draft choice, and it's potentially part of the reason why we haven't seen as much Vladimir recently, because the Taric ulti can be timed to just remove all the damage and healing from Hemoplague. Fly going for a really early Spirit Visage, which indicates maybe that he was getting bullied around quite a lot by Sky, even though he's on equal CS. Maybe he just felt the need for that. You'd expect him to go for something like a Proto Belt, given how we talked about how little engage this team has, and now he's gone for Merc Tread, so he's really prioritising Magic Res against this, which I'm not so sure about. I don't know if I particularly agree with that. There is a lot of CC. There is a lot of CC, but if you're going to go Merc Treads, you probably shouldn't go Spirit Visage as well. There are better item choices. Proto Belt, namely. Fly finally back in the mid lane, Someday off in the top lane. CJ still hasn't used this global advantage though. We're 13 minutes in. The map is completely open because the outer towers are down. So they should be managing their side waves better, so they can push them in and make a play on the mid lane. That's what this comp's designed to do. Do they scale better? Not necessarily. I think Vladimir and Ezreal scaled just fine. Ezreal's still in his power trough, so I don't know why they're not punishing harder. Look at the pink wards from KT though. They're obviously very worried about this dive happening, but CJ's kind of missed their chance now. They had the AD carry and then the Gnar for a while in the middle lane. That dive should have happened ages ago. Now with the Vladimir there, with the Spirit Visage, Mercs, Hemoplague and Sanguine Pool, it becomes a lot harder for them to dive there. So they're going to have to make plays onto the side lanes. But that's hard to do when you have the mid lane tower up. And the waves are pushed that deep. Okay, so nothing's going to happen for a little bit now. I'll skip forward bits and bobs when I can, just to try to speed this VOD review up a little bit. So, still relatively even. They send Sky back to the middle lane. The bottom lane and the top lane are finally going to match up. Finally going to match up. All the way pushed in the bottom lane. Tara's pushing in the top lane. Not much to comment on, really. Someday's very nearly got Narva. Nice fear. That was a really nice fear from Haru. Haru clearly knows this Hecarim very well. Maybe someday should have hit the Gnar ulti slightly earlier, but he was waiting for the perfect time and the fear delayed him. So that's pretty clutch. Let me get rid of that. Should have put my Skype onto DND. Oh well, I was having a conversation with someone just before. So Haru gets a kill for that. That was probably an oversight by Someday. And he actually had flash as well. It was a point blank Hecarim ulti. So can't necessarily expect him to flash it. Would have been nice though. Would have been a pretty cool outplay to see that happen. So Nara's all the way in at the top tower right now. Pushed the whole way in with no Gnar bar. 36 seconds till dragon. CJ needs to do a better job of clearing out this vision though. There are 2 pink wards right there. Tribush and the lane bush. Well, not lane bush, the river bush, just above bottom lane. One's gone. You see that? Great pink ward. Nice. That could really cost them. Tara's going back, ready to TP in. Kramer finds the pink ward. Yeah, cool Mad Life down. Good idea. Good of him to not stay around and just clear in that bush. And now Someday's out of Gnar form, out of Mega Gnar form. So again, this is their opportunity. When you're playing against the Gnar, you always have to play around these windows. But KT has a lanes pushed in now. And Kramer went back. Kramer went back. It is only an Ocean Drake. They can happily cede this to KT if they don't want to fight around this. But this is going to happen. Someday's now got his Frozen Mallet. The longer they stay up in this top lane, isolated without doing something else on the map, the worse it gets for Antara. He's just going to be pushed in. You shouldn't get too much denial from him, but if Someday's up at that tower, permanently attacking, generating Gnar resource for his rage bar, then it just gives KT more opportunities on the map than CJ has, at least not without losing loads of farm for Antara. Someday's pushed in, managed to rotate all the way down, so he's going to save his TP for this dragon fight, as in he's not going to have to use it if they fight for dragon now. Fly's going back. So both teams really kind of scared to take this dragon, it seems. Neither team really wants to regress. CJ struggling here to pull the trigger when they should. Not doing it. Apology if you can hear my dog snoring. Hopefully you can't. Hopefully the sound cancelling from these headphones is good enough. We'll see. Okay, we're going to keep skipping forwards because not much is happening at all. Okay, literally as I say that, something happens. That's what we wanted to see. Except that Arrow is way far away from everyone else. Look at where Arrow is right now. Okay, so there's no vision in the blue side jungle. Your top lane is pushed in, and Someday has no Mega Gnar, so he can't respond. Vladimir has no TP, and he's in the mid lane. Without wave pressure, Sky's managed to rotate first. Why is Arrow here? He has a pink ward, but it's so shallow. This is not deep vision. If you don't have deep vision, you can't push out into this lane like this. They literally have 0 lanes worth of pressure, and the jungle is on the opposite side of the map, and the support is miles away. This is a pretty big error. So, good of CJ to capitalise on this, but this is KT definitely throwing them a massive bone. And now you get an Ocean Drake out of it. You get an Ocean Drake, because again, there's no wave pressure. Sky can clear out the middle lane just fine. Yeah, I'd be pissed if I were you, Arrow. I'd be pissed. They have at least got through the Ezreal lane phase trough, but Hecarim's got 2 kills now and a completed Triforce, so yeah, you're going to spike, but so's Hecarim. So, big work. So now they have 2 Ocean Drakes. There's a Vladimir in the mid lane with an Ezreal without a completed item. They have both their teleports up. They have a Shen. I'm still looking for them to go into a 1-3-1, honestly. With an Ashe in the mid lane, it shouldn't be a problem. This tower on the bottom lane's a good push, though. No problems there. See how much time that gave them? All the way from back here. Good of Kramer to go. If you notice, before they took the dragon, he went over here. Instead of letting this build in for a freeze, he took the wave right here and then gets that to slow push all the way into here. Into the inner bottom tower. And our arrow is still not respawned by this time. And he has an early hurricane. Good for him to build an early hurricane when they have double TP advantage. I would always advise that. On an AD carry, if you do have double TP advantage, because it means you can shift in for the 1-3-1. So after this tower goes down, I would want to see a 1-3-1 from them. Even though it's nice to have Karma in the middle lane with the Hecarim so that he can engage, it ultimately doesn't matter as long as Hecarim's going in on an Ashe arrow with a Taric and a Shen. It should be more than enough to make some dives in the mid lane. And the only time that they can really safely engage on you, if they run at you, they lose. The only time they can safely engage on you in this comp from KT is if they get a flank on you with Gragas and Gnar. So on the side lanes, because they can't get a flank on you in the mid lane because you have a tower there and you have a Taric. So it's almost impossible to dive you. With Taric, Shen, Karma, it's ridiculously hard to dive you. So I think if you're in the middle lane right now as CJ, you have a big advantage. If you just rotate into a 1-3-1 right now. We'll see what they do. We'll see if Sky just carries on in the middle lane. If they do carry on like this, it just extends the laning phase even more, which doesn't really go in anyone's favour. It's not bad, but it's not snowballing again. It's not actually doing what you could be doing to win this game. And it's letting Someday get to this late game split push point. He's going to get a Black Cleaver fairly soon. And he's going to be really annoying. Might not be as impactful as he wanted to be. And this advantage from him has been neutralised pretty well. He was mega far ahead in the early lane swap. Mega far, mega Gnar, lol. Oh, the puns. But now Ashe has eye edge as well. And Ashe in the mid game does seriously high amounts of damage. Ezreal completed the Muramana at 21 minutes. It was a fairly early one, like I said. Good job. So now Sky is going back. Fly is in the bottom lane. So if those two face up and Sky ever gets even the slightest relief from the wave pressure, without Fly being able to rotate away, then this should be a really easy play for them to make. CJ to make, that is, onto the middle lane. 21 minutes is very late for them to have actually not done much with this comp. They're playing very passively. Far more scared than they need to be. Carry on pushing forward. And KT have the push on the middle lane. Sky's going to try and push one more wave out and then they can make something happen. Shut up, speakers. My phone's nowhere near you. Okay, I actually don't know how this siege is happening. I guess the Trundle Pillar does a lot of work in a siege. Gragas rushing the Frozen Heart. Not what I would have gone for. Not what I would have gone for. And all you're reducing is the Ashe's attack speed. Hecarim doesn't give a crap about his attack speed. He has Rampage for that. Oh wow, that was nice. Oh, Sunday uses TP to get in there as well. Okay, so they lose one kill on the bottom in the bottom lane. But see, KT isn't going to be able to take anything for it. Even the dragon's too far away. So it doesn't matter that much. And this top wave is pushing in. So once Sky gets back there, it'll be absolutely fine from that play. What's the cause of that death then? Let's go all the way back, shall we? Okay, so jungle's on the top side. There's no vision on Gnar. Where is Gnar? I can't see him on the map. Oh, he's in the middle lane. Okay, they have vision on Gnar in the middle lane. They don't have any vision on Gragas. They don't have much vision at all deep, to be fair. which makes a 1-3-1 fairly difficult. They do not have enough deep vision to be making these plays, I don't think. Kramer is recalling on the Ash. He doesn't shoot the arrow, I don't think. Yeah, he could shoot the arrow right now. Chooses not to. I think with an arrow, then this could have been a much better play. Now Sunday starts TPing. Okay, so that's just a score with a good gank onto Sky, and Sky playing without enough vision. They weren't really playing with enough vision on either side, but you can play without vision on both sides if you have mid lane pressure, but Kramer was recalling right there. And honestly, if their Vladimir's off in a side lane, then I don't know where the mid lane pressure is coming from. I don't know why CJ hasn't pressured this mid lane way more than they have. Because you have an Ashe, you just shoot the arrow straight down the middle lane. At least you burn a flash. Kramer's been really hesitant to actually use any Ashe arrows this game. And they need to be making repeat trips to this middle lane instead of just AFK farming. Very passive game. That's why I know it's a long one now. Ashe going for the execution is calling, that's smart. Take down the Vladimir's HP pool. So, well, this guy dies. Next dragon's up soon, doesn't matter. Fly goes to the top lane to push in. He's going to get there in time. Kramer runs top right now. Don't know about that. Depends how quickly he can clear this wave out. And Mad Life runs top. So that means they're looking at seeing this dragon. Because middle lane's getting pushed in right now. Unless they make it down real quick. But I don't know why Shen isn't up there. I don't know why Kramer has to be up there. What kind of dragon is it? It's another Ocean Drake. So they probably don't care that much about it, considering they've already got 2. But they're not punishing anything for it. They're going to push in the top wave. They may be able to get a top tower out of this. If their middle lane can actually get pressure for once. So they push a wave all the way into the top tower, but then get scared off. So they just give up a dragon for nothing there. But why? There's no edge that they have over you in terms of team fighting. The Nara is even built for split push, and you have a Shen on your team. And a Karma. You have so much AoE shielding, and the Taric ulti. And they're still getting pushed in the mid lane. CJ is playing so passively, refusing to punish. And Fly has spent so much time in the side lanes farming this game, and they've not been punished with a single double teleport. Not a single one. I actually don't remember the last time CJ used their TPs. Okay, finally. Finally. But some days in Mega Knight form, so they can't make the dive. The timing is off. Maybe KT is just timing it very well, making sure that Someday has Mega Knight every time that Fly goes to clear a wave. But there's no way that there's not a single opportunity for them to get a tower dive on with this comp. Especially when you can just, Shen ulti the Hecarim. And then as soon as that shield goes down, Taric ulti can hit. If you can time it well, you can get 3 CCs chained into each other then without even using the Ashe ulti. Or the Karma route. Even if Karma's off on a side lane and doesn't join the fight, you should still win. And it's an Ezreal. It's not like he has loads of wave clear. Like, look how many Mystic shots it takes him to clear a wave. And CJ just aren't posturing aggressively around this middle lane. Okay, this is a pretty slow, boring game. Not gonna lie. Okay, we seem to have something. So, let's look at the setup. Fly's in the top lane. But Kramer is up there as well. Why? Okay, nothing happened there. Kramer's still farming in the side lane. Interesting. Can Trundle get here? No. Macro-wise, that's kind of a disrespect on the double TP. I mean, it's a Shen. He's going to be able to get there in time before the rest of your team. And it's not like they had masses of wave pressure. Like if right here the wave is all the way in, you see CJ is able to rotate first, or at least at the same time. If the wave is all the way in here, and everyone's stuck behind the tower, you know, the Karma's stuck behind the tower, that's fine. But Karma can use the speed boost, and Hecarim can use his movement speed to rotate. So this is probably a disrespectful play from Fly. Even though he nearly gets the kill, the macro isn't great. The macro element of this play, the decision making is pretty bad. And now because Sundays, ooh, I think he scooped that the wrong way. Still good dodge from Haru out, but now because he went the wrong way, or because KT tried to follow up on Fly's bad play, Sunday gets killed. Oh. So I think Kramer knew he was in there, but had heal anyway, or suspected that he might be in there, but the rest of your team's right there, and he has body slam anyway, and flash up, so disrespect going into that bush, because he's going to flash out anyway, even if all your team, like everyone in your team comes, he's going to flash out, and you'll have to burn a bunch of flashes to get him, and because of that, your team rotates up and you lose your mid tower. So not ideal from CJ there. They could have taken a lot more of that play. They could have taken so much more. Had Kramer not died, and had they chased score out, they could have really easily made a play onto the Baron buff. And even if they didn't get it, they could have engaged out with Hecarim, Karma. I'm not going to watch that play, because there's no point. Okay, so yeah, right here, right there, when Sunday dies, Sunday's dead. Okay. You have both the solo laners dead. You go for a Baron play here. You don't actually go to take the Baron. You just try and kill the Gragas when he comes in. And you get another kill out of it. And then you can rotate for the Dragon again once the enemy spawns are up. And just keep taking team fights off of that. Because that's what this team's great at. This team's fantastic at engaging. But Kramer gets caught. He could have just gone around the safe way, back to his team, and they could have taken the Baron. But nope. Okay, so, alright, we have action here. Sunday's on the bottom lane, doesn't have Narbar yet. And now it's, let's group up and fight for Baron time, even though they have no wave pressure. Sunday's in Mega Nash, they can't fight. Next Dragon's coming up, last one before Elder Dragon. Sunday's Narbar's gonna go down now. So if they can get in here and actually tussle for vision, they can make this play no problem. And Tyro has his ult up. They should fight here. CJ should be fighting here, for sure. Fly's even cut out. But they don't go in. What? It's an Infernal Drake as well. They should be fighting for this. And Sunday is not in Mega Knight form. Guaranteed 100% they can take this team fight and crush it. But they're just not doing anything. And now Fly's got a flank behind them. He was cut out before. And Sunday's in the middle of the fight. By the time they actually allow themselves to get engaged on, Sunday has his Mega Knight up again. They can still take this team fight really well. It's still super close, even though they didn't engage when they should have, even though they let themselves get flanked. So had they actually taken the team fight at the right time, this would have been such an easy fight for them. Such an easy fight. As it is, they lose out. And they're going to lose an Infernal Drake, and probably a lot more. KT with really nice vision around that though. Look how many wards there are there. They're even going to take the Infernal Drake? Yeah, okay. So I'm not interested in the team fight mechanics there. I'm not. Although I'm sure there were lots of great things that we could talk about. This video is just going to be way too long if we talk about all the individual team fight mechanics. Okay, free Infernal Drake. That's to be expected. And now they rotate straight over to the Baron. And Tara does have ult up again. But this KT squad should not be getting free engages onto CJ's comp. They absolutely should not be allowed to engage on them. It should be CJ who's doing the engaging here. That's what this comp is built for. It's built for Haru to run in on Hecarim and decimate someone, and Chen and Karma to make him pretty much invulnerable, and then Tarek to make him actually invulnerable. And they get flanked again. How are they getting flanked by this lineup? How? Sunday didn't even teleport. Someday is there. Where did he come in from? Oh, he actually just came straight from the front. He just flashes in and he gets an RLT. Okay. Man, this game's tilting me. CJ's playing so badly. That was such a nice comp. Such a nice comp. And I hated KT's comp, but they played the lane swap better. And then they got an advantage and it kind of evened out. They made a couple mess ups, but they've just let it get to the super late game point without doing anything with their like ridiculously strong mid game comp. Like at level 6, this game should be like exploding, and it's so slow. So slow. Not even 1 kill every 2 minutes. And KT's going to split up and take this, and that should be pretty much the game at this point. The Baron buff. Because now that Vladimir's got all those items, he can dive really well. And this team from CJ is not great at getting engaged on. The Taric ulti needs to be used preemptively, so you've pretty much just got to guess when to use it. If you're going in to make the engage, it's way easier. Again, the Shen ulti, when you're not making proactive plays across the map from a distance, is pretty much worthless because Shen has to stand still in the fight to be able to channel it. And he doesn't have enough wave pressure here because they're pushed into their base to make a difference in the split push. So, free in here. So we'll just watch until KT closes this game out. Unless CJ takes like one massive incredible team fight, it should be free. But like, where have the Ash arrows been? It's 37 minutes in, Kramer's level 17, and I actually don't recall a single Ash arrow hitting. Okay, there's the fight. So, how does this start? Mad Life gets chunked, and Tara goes in. Scores right in the middle of it. Flies there with a Hemo Plague onto everyone. Someday with another beautiful Gnar ulti. Wow. Haru goes in to try and make the difference. Gets a good Hecarim ulti, but it's too late by this point. After that Gnar ulti lands, you're so done. You're so done. Zara not even going to die. Ouch. Yeah, okay. So that's the game. Right, so that is a lesson from CJ in how to not play it as aggressively as you should, and how not to use your power spikes, and how not to use your 1-3-1 composition. Don't think KT should have won that game. I really don't. It's a shame not to see. It's a shame to see CJ playing the matchup this badly. But oh well. That's all from me, guys. Hope I wasn't too salty for you, but this is kind of a triggering thing to see, especially a top Korean team play this badly around their power spikes. Anyways, big love to all of you if you watched this far. It's probably quite a long VOD review. That's all from me. This was Mac. Peace out.